My sister is like a porcelain doll. She'll fracture at the slightest touch. Our parents are so scared of her getting hurt. They'd keep her in their palms if they could. I was born without the ability to feel pain. So when my sister messed up, my parents took it out on me. I got the beatings meant for her since we were little. When we grew up, my sister signed me up for an extreme escape game where you have to sign a life and death waiver. I didn't want to join, but my parents said, "You won't feel pain anyway, so it doesn't matter how much you get hurt." My sister cashed in my jackpot and took our parents on a cruise trip. On the day I entered the escape game, I got a rebound system. The system said, "Now you can send the pain you receive back to anyone you choose." So I thought, let's send it back to the porcelain doll cradled by my parents. My sister has brittle bone disease. In medical terms, it's called osteogenesis imperfecta, and she's had it since birth. She's constantly breaking bones. People call her the porcelain doll. Because of her condition, she got lots of special treatment at school. Other students kept their distance, scared they'd accidentally break her bones and have to pay for it. But she wasn't easygoing at all. For classroom duties, she was left off the list. Yet she'd tell the class duty officer, "I don't want to take advantage. Let my sister do my duties." So I ended up doing chores for both of us. In gym class, the coach asked everyone to run 3 laps around the track. He specially told my sister, "Dale, you can skip it and rest." But she declared, "Coach, don't play favorites. I can't run, but my sister can run for me. Let her run 6 laps." I have story after story like this from growing up. We're twins. I'm the opposite of her. I don't feel pain. If she's a porcelain doll, then I'm an iron one. When she got old enough to understand, she blamed me for taking her nutrients in our mother's womb. Even my parents believed I took what was hers, causing her to endure repeated fractures. One time, my sister stood on a stool, rummaging for snacks in a cabinet. She fell and broke her elbow. When our parents got home, she cried and said I pushed her. They didn't believe me, no matter how I explained. Dad smacked me. "Do you think your sister is like you, an iron doll? If you hurt her again, I'll break your legs." I was only 7 then. We still lived in the countryside. My parents locked me in the cellar to reflect. The cellar was deep, dark, and full of sweet potatoes. Sometimes a rat would scurry by. I huddled there, too scared to sleep, gnawing on raw potatoes when I got hungry. Finally, morning came. Footsteps sounded above. I thought it was Mom, softening and about to let me out. But it was my sister. She piled rocks at the entrance and threw them down, one by one. I dodged, but she laughed innocently. "You don't feel pain, so why dodge?" I ended up with my head bloodied. I begged her to stop. "Why not keep going?" "It's fun," she declared. Sure, no one would save me. When our parents came back from the fields, they let me out. They were surprised to see my injuries and asked how it happened. I told them my sister had thrown rocks. My sister cried. She pushed me and broke my elbow first. So what if I hit her with rocks? They comforted her. "All right, don't cry. She wronged you first. We don't blame you." They even taught her, if someone bullies you, just get back at them like this. While our parents cooked, my sister said, "You don't feel pain. They won't care about you." Our parents always sided with her, leaving me defenseless and swallowing my grievances. A neighbor lady saw the scar on my temple and kindly gave my mom some scar cream for me. "A girl shouldn't have scars on her face," she said. Mom took the cream, but left it in the cupboard. The next day, my sister found it and asked, "Curious, Mom, what's this?" Only then did Mom open it and apply it on my forehead. But the cream made my wound worse. It scarred, leaving a mark on my temple. A few years later, we moved to the city. Classmates pointed at my scar, calling me ugly. On the way home, my sister confessed, "Hee, I crushed glass into powder and mixed it into the cream so you'd be scarred. I didn't want us to look the same. I want to be unique." I was shocked. She was so young yet so scheming. I told Mom about it. She just said, "A scar on your temple is nice, isn't it? Makes it easy to tell you apart, saves me trouble." My sister went further, saying, "Mom, can you change my sister's name? I don't like having the same surname. And I don't want us on the same household register. Many girls at school are only children, and I want to be one too." So Mom changed my name from Jean to May and moved my registration to Grandma's address. My sister laughed, "Hee, now I'm an only child." The more our parents doted on her, the worse she treated me. When she got in trouble, they took it out on me. I took the beatings for her, silent in my struggles. I studied hard, aiming to escape this suffocating home. But childhood seemed endless. Each day I wished time would fly by. Soon we were in middle school. My sister got caught stealing from a gang of tough girls. After school, they cornered her in an alley. They rolled up their sleeves, ready to beat her up. She begged, "I have brittle bone disease. I'll break if hit." It was my sister's idea, hit her instead. The gang turned their gaze on me. I wanted to run away, but they dragged me back. The girls pinned me against the wall and slapped me. My sister stood by clapping, "Hit harder, guys." My sister doesn't feel pain. You think hitting her so lightly will help you vent your anger. The mean girls felt unsatisfied and gave me a few more slaps. Blood dripped from my mouth, and my sister bent over laughing. "You're like a punching bag. How come I didn't get such a tough body? I'm so jealous." Before leaving, the mean girls tipped a trash can over me. My school uniform was filthy. My sister came over, wiped the blood from my mouth with her finger, and smeared it on her lips. She forcibly swapped school uniforms with me. Back home, she cried in front of our parents. My sister stole something from the mean girls and blamed it on me. I got slapped twice, and they dumped trash on me. Our parents were furious. I explained it wasn't me, I didn't do it. They didn't listen and looked disappointed. "Stop lying, May. Even if you hate your sister, you shouldn't team up with outsiders to bully her." They only believed my sister, ignoring the injury on my mouth. Mom slapped me twice. Dad rolled up his sleeves, saying he'd sort out the mean girls. My sister stopped him. "Dad, let it go. Punish my sister if you want. If you go to the school and make a scene, the mean girls will take revenge on me." Dad chose to let it slide. He grabbed a half-empty Coke bottle off the table and smashed it on my head. "Raised you for nothing. You can't even protect your sister. You're infuriating." Then he pulled my hair and dragged me into the storage room, locking me in. Mom locked the door from outside. "Starve you for 2 days. That'll straighten you out." I went 2 days without food, nearly passing out from hunger. At night, my sister came out to use the bathroom. Standing outside the storage room door, she sneered, "Feeling wronged? You owe me. You stole my nutrients in the womb. You'll pay for it your whole life. You're going to have a rough time." My heart was numb. Studying hard became my only way out. I got the top grades in my grade for the high school entrance exam and got into the city's best high school. My sister only got into an ordinary one. I finally didn't have to attend school with her. Before starting freshman year, my sister wanted to switch identities with me. Our parents denied it. Dad shook his head. "Forget it. Even if you went to the top high school, you'd fall behind. Why put yourself through that?" Mom looked at my sister softly. "My sweet girl, you're meant to enjoy life. Let your sister handle the studying." I got my wish, attended the top high school, and lived in a dorm, a brief escape from that house. One weekend, I was on my way back to school from the library. At the alley entrance, an electric scooter came from around the corner. It was about to hit an elderly lady. I rushed to push her away. The scooter sped off, and I fell, scraping my palms with blood. The scooter driver yelled back, "Watch where you're walking. Serves you right if you get hit," and drove off. The old lady came to help me, worried. "Young lady, you're hurt. Let me take you to the hospital." I got up and wiped the blood from my hands. "No need, I'm okay." I had no sense of pain, and this kind of injury didn't bother me. I didn't want to trouble the old lady. I just bandaged myself up at the clinic near the school gate. I picked up what had fallen, put it back in my bag, and quietly left the alley. By the time the old lady chased after me, I had already crossed the street. I thought it was just a minor event. But a week later, the old lady posted a search for me online. I was eating at home when my sister saw the post and shouted excitedly, "Isn't this side profile May?" Turns out, after I left, the old lady reported to the police and caught the hit-and-run driver. She found my side profile photo taken from the street camera at the junction. The old lady wanted to reward whoever saved her, and even wanted to make them her god-grandchild. My sister laughed. "What's her game? Finding a grandkid to take care of her till she dies? How much could she have to reward someone at her age?" She kept scrolling through the comments. They're saying she's from the famous Hearst family. No way. If she's so rich, why was she in that shabby alley? I take back what I said earlier. Someone found a family photo of the Hearst family, and she is indeed the old Mrs. Hearst. My parents exchanged glances. Dad seemed thrilled, rubbing his hands eagerly. We're about to strike it rich. Mom grabbed my sister's hand, excited. Dale, you should go to her and become her god-granddaughter instead of your sister. They completely ignored me, sitting right there at the table. No one asked if I got hurt saving the old lady. They didn't care. I put down my bowl and stood up. I'm full. I'm going out for a walk. Stop right there. My sister grabbed my hand, demanding, you aren't planning to secretly contact the old lady, are you? As soon as she finished speaking, Dad blocked the door. Mom and my sister pushed me into my room. Stay in there. Don't ruin this for us. They locked me in and started grilling me for details about rescuing the old lady. They wanted to know everything, even down to what we both wore that day. If I hesitated even a second, my sister pinched me. I lifted my hand, wanting to fight back, but Mom grabbed it, slapping me across the face. Dare to hit your sister? Think again. Don't you know your sister has brittle bone disease? She can't take a hit. Do it again and you'll regret it. Dizzy from the blows, anger clouded my mind. I shook off Mom's hand, standing up suddenly. You're rebelling? You want to hit your own mom? Mom pinned me on the bed, spitting in my face, calling for Dad. Hey, come give me a hand. My strength was nothing against two adults. My sister handed over the rope, and my parents tied me up and stuffed me into the closet. You stay home and don't mess up our important matters, they said, locking both the closet and the room door. I could faintly hear my sister calling Mrs. Hearst on the phone. Hello there, ma'am. It's me, the one who helped you in the alley the other day. I saw your missing person notice. Do you have time to meet up? They agreed to meet at a plaza near our home. My parents and sister dressed up like it was a holiday. Before leaving, my sister knocked on the closet door and said, stay put and don't cause trouble, or else Mom and Dad will deal with you. After they left, I fell asleep in the closet. I dreamed about being locked in a cellar when I was younger. I climbed desperately, and just as I reached the top, my sister stomped on my hand. She kept pushing me back into the cellar, her face twisted with anger, saying you shouldn't have been born. Without you, I could have been normal. You took away the most important thing from me. You deserve this. In the dream, my parents came over, and the three of them looked down at me from the top of the cellar. They seemed like a perfect happy family, while I was less worthy than a rat in the cellar. I don't know how long I'd been asleep when a door opening sound woke me. As soon as my sister came in, she laughed, haha, with a godmother like that. I'm set for life now. Mom held a name brand purse, overjoyed. This is the first expensive gift I've ever received. Rich folks are so generous. Dad wore an expensive watch, beaming. The fortune teller said I'd hit the jackpot this year. And turns out they were right. My sister said to Mom, hey, can you pull out the cash godmother gave me? I want to take a picture. You can deposit it tomorrow. Mom pulled out 10 stacks of cash from her purse and laid them on the table. My sister snapped a bunch of photos with her phone, whining sweetly, Mom, I want a new phone. Mom easily agreed, sure, we'll get you one. My sister pushed further, Mom, I'd also like my own room. Can we swap the bunk bed for a bigger one? Mom nodded, no problem. We'll renovate your room and put a big bed. Your sister can move into the storage room. I knew you guys loved me the most, my sister said, giving Mom a hug. Then she added, I'll go check on sis. She opened the closet door, smiling. Did you hear? Mom said you'll be moving to the storage room. This room will be all mine. I'm turning it into a princess room. I weighed my options. I had to get back to school tomorrow. If they thought I'd ruin their plans, they'd keep me locked up. I needed to escape first. Forget about the living expenses. I'll figure it out myself. I kept a straight face and said, Princess, can you untie me? My sister burst into laughter. Ha! What did you call me? Say it again. I numbly repeated, Princess. So you agree I'm meant to be a princess? Smart move, she said, pleased with her new nickname, as she untied me, then asked with squinted eyes, you aren't mad I took credit for your work, are you? Of course not, we're family, I said as she untied me, crawling out of the closet. I need to study now. My sister watched me with a smug grin and said, "Guess all that studying made you a bit dumb. Huh? Since you're not competing with me, I'll let you be." The next day, before heading to school, Mom warned me again and again, "Don't even think about contacting the Hearst family privately, or you'll never finish school." She hit me where it hurt. My education is my only hope right now. Unless I vanish right under their noses, they'll keep causing trouble wherever I go until they get what they want. I had no choice but to say, "Okay, since Mrs. Hearst gave you so much money, can you at least give me the money for this semester?" Mom sneered, "Ha, this semester's allowance? If I give it to you, you won't come back, will you? Be grateful I'm giving you half a month's worth." She started listing demands. "Your sister's new phone is around 6 or 7,000. Her room makeover and bed cost about 10,000. She'll need new clothes too. So many expenses. Here, take 200 bucks but spend it wisely." Then she handed me 200 yuan. I needed it for school meals. With 200, even on the tightest budget, I could only last 10 days to 2 weeks. Just as I tucked the money away, my sister snatched 100 from my hand. "I'm treating my friends to bubble tea today. It's just about 100 for 4 of us." I snapped, "Dale." "Mom, she's being mean to me," my sister whined, hiding behind Mom. "Why not just skip her tuition and find her someone to marry? We could get a bride price or something," she suggested. How could anyone be so shameless? And yet, Mom seemed to consider her idea seriously. Her eyes sized me up, as if calculating how much my marriage might fetch in bride price. I lost all interest in arguing. I pocketed the 100 remaining yuan, turned around and said, "I'm heading to school." Behind me, I heard my sister's mocking laughter. "Ha ha. Seems like sis is terrified of marriage. If she misbehaves, we'll marry her off to the mountains." Mom muttered, "Marrying her off to the mountains won't fetch much. But marry her to a wealthy old man, and the bride price will be higher." My sister got her new phone, room renovation, and a $5,000 princess bed. They moved the bunk bed my sister and I shared for years to the storage room. The bottom bunk and under the bed got crowded with stuff, leaving me the top bunk to sleep. My sister texted me to brag about her room, asking jealous of my room. I didn't reply. I was too busy focusing on my studies. For without allowance or money for meals, I decided to earn it myself. After class, the most popular girl in our class asked me to go to the snack shop to get her some snacks and drinks. I agreed, but asked, "Can you give me a little for the errand?" She laughed at me. "Wow, are you that broke? Fine, I'll give you $2. The other students were watching, saying, "What's $2 gonna buy? That's kind of insulting, isn't it?" But $2 could get me a steamed bun and a pack of pickles, which was enough for a meal. "Sure," I nodded. "Anyone else need a favor?" All the other classmates started asking me to run errands for them too. A lot of them were trying to make fun of me, but I didn't care. As long as I could cover my meal and living expenses, I wouldn't have to go back to the home I dreaded or face my stifling family. Besides running errands for snacks during breaks, I added other services. I'd get breakfast and late-night snacks for my roommates. I'd do laundry, pick up clothes, fetch hot water, tidy up, ghostwrite letters, and deliver love notes. Basically, anyone in school willing to pay could hire me. I balanced my side jobs and studying by making good use of free time. On weekends, I'd also do part-time work at malls, handing out flyers and working hourly gigs. After I stopped asking my parents for allowance, I just didn't go home anymore. My parents called a few times to urge me to go back. A month later, my mom came to school to find me. She tried to drag me home to scold me, but my homeroom teacher stopped her. After talking with my mom, I don't know what was said, but she was furious. She pulled me aside with a disgusted expression. "May, you're such a disgrace. Your sister lives like a princess, and you're acting like a servant for a few bucks? Where's your dignity?" I'd lost my dignity a long time ago. I just wanted to survive, and when I grew up, I'd reclaim my dignity bit by bit through my efforts. Time flew by. The college entrance exams ended. I got a summer job at a restaurant, working as I waited for the results. On the third day of work, my sister and mom showed up at my job. While I was busy, they took my ID from my bag. I knew they were up to no good. "Why'd you take my ID?" My sister said, "Isn't it summer break? I'm taking Mom and Dad on a cruise. We need an emergency contact. I'll give your ID back once we're done. I felt something was fishy and tried to get my ID back, but they wouldn't return it. They banked on the fact that I couldn't make a scene at my workplace. The next day I got a text. Congrats on signing up for Island Escape, the reality show. Check your email for the contract. Turns out they used my ID to sign me up for an extreme survival game. My sister even forged my signature on the liability waiver. This was their birthday gift to me for turning 18. The contract showed my sister received a 20 grand enrollment fee with my ID. The show had 5 rounds, and each round cleared would split a prize pool. Completing the final round brought a prize of 100 grand. If I wanted out, I'd have to pay back the 20 grand and face a penalty for pulling out. I was about to call the show producers to explain, but my sister rang first. All smug, she said, "We spent the entry fee already. If you back out, you gotta repay the 20 grand, even if they don't make you pay the penalty. If you have 20 grand, go ahead and cancel." I hit record on my phone. "You signed me up and pocketed the money. Why should I have to pay?" Perceptive, my sister replied, "The ID's yours. Just 'cause we look alike doesn't mean you can pin this on me. So aiming for a top university like Tsinghua, huh? Let's see how hard you fall. And oh, don't plan on a peaceful summer. Wherever you work, I'll make sure you get fired." My mom grabbed the phone. "One little show, and you can earn us 20 grand. It's like money from heaven. Why wouldn't you?" I asked, "So if I make you this 20 grand, are we done after that?" Mom seemed caught off guard, then said, "You don't come home anymore. With or without you, it's the same." My heart sank. "I'll do it, but it's the last time. After this, just act like you don't have a daughter. Cutting ties. Raising you wasn't a debt 20 grand can repay." Before Mom finished, Dad snatched the phone. "If you clear the final round and win another 100 grand, we'll call it even." Frowning, I asked, "All the way to the end? You don't care if I live or die?" Indifferently, my parents said, "You won't feel pain. No matter how hurt you get, you'll survive." That's it. The next day, when I showed up for work at the tea shop, my manager said they didn't need me anymore. I knew it was my parents and sister stirring up trouble. It was clear, they forced my hand. I calmed down and thought it through. I still needed to go to college, and if I didn't join the show, a lawsuit might mess with my studies. My sister and parents surely wouldn't return the 20 grand. I'd have to work myself to pay it back. As long as I joined the show, even getting eliminated in the first round, I wouldn't have to repay the fee. Those 20 grand were the price to cut ties with them. As for giving them the 100 grand prize money, that was out of the question. The day I joined the show, my sister and parents began their cruise. My sister shared her lavish life on the cruise, and even live streamed to sell products, drawing lots of followers. I originally planned to get knocked out in the first round, but once on the deserted island, a mechanical voice popped into my head. "Congrats on binding with the bounce back system." I was stunned. Bounce back system? 5 system. You were born without the ability to feel pain, which makes you the chosen one for this challenge. But your family has been too much. Now you can reflect your injuries back to anyone. I asked the rules. Can I only reflect them to one person, or can I choose different people? The system explained, you can reflect 1 injury per person. Multiple injuries can be reflected to different people. Now please choose who to reflect the first injury to. I took a deep breath. Let's start by reflecting it back to the porcelain doll my parents adore. System. Target lock successfully. As soon as the system finished speaking, a transparent screen appeared in front of me. On the screen, I could see my sister and parents on a cruise having breakfast. The table was full of delicious food, and my parents were doting on my sister, giving her all her favorite dishes. In front of her, they acted like the perfect parents. "Dale, eat more. Your sister doesn't get to have this kind of luxury." My sister opened her phone and bluntly said, "The survival game is about to start. I enjoy life, she suffers. We were born with different fates." My mom agreed. "Yes, you're the only princess in our family. You better snag the Hearst family heir. And when you marry into the Hearst family, your dad and I will enjoy following you." My sister, twisting her hair, shyly replied, "Felix is ignoring me. Probably thinks I'm too young. I'll work hard to win him over." Turns out, my parents are hoping for her to marry into the Hearst family. They've pinned their hopes for a happy future on her. No matter how outrageous her words or actions, they turn a blind eye. The 18 participants of the escape game gathered, the live stream began, and viewers poured in. I heard this escape show requires the participants to sign waivers. It must be risky. The prize for each round is $300,000. If you make it, you're set for life. Looking at the rules, it's so dangerous. Winning the money might cost you your life. Only 3 women among the 18 participants, that's some courage. Contestant number 6, Bianca, is a female boxer. Number 12, Flora, is a shooting coach. Number 18, May, doesn't seem to have any background or special skills. Is she just filler? I heard if you get selected, you get a $20,000 bonus. She's probably just there for the bonus. I bet she's out in the first round. I glanced at the other contestants. They all seemed impressive except me, just plain and average. The rules say that the 18 contestants are divided into 6 groups, each with 3 people, to complete the challenge. The winning group splits the $300,000 prize. There's not only the external threats to face in the escape game, but also attacks from other groups. The consensus among us is choosing strong teammates gives you the best chance to win. During introductions, every contestant bragged about their strengths. When it was my turn, I couldn't think of any strengths, but sincerely said, "I'm not afraid of pain. I can take hits." Viewers couldn't help but laugh. Seriously, is taking hits a strength? She's definitely just after the entry bonus. Out of thousands of applicants, why her? Those skinny arms and legs don't look like they can take much. Probably no one will pick her for their team. She seems like dead weight. 15 guys quickly formed 5 teams. Bianca and Flora teamed up. They needed one more teammate and looked my way. Viewers were skeptical. The 2 female contestants don't seem thrilled about choosing May. Who wants dead weight? Bianca and Flora already face tough odds. Adding a weak link would make an early exit likely. I approached them and said, "I can run fast, take hits, and gather supplies. I won't be a burden." Bianca and Flora exchanged glances, then nodded. "All right. Anyone who can enter this competition must have something up their sleeve. We look forward to the surprises you bring." So, that's how I teamed up with Bianca and Flora. The first challenge was escape the suspension bridge. Supply bags hung from the bridge. 18 contestants rushed onto the bridge, trying to grab the supply bags within the time limit and reach the other side. That's how you clear the round. While snatching supplies, other groups might push you off into the river. Below, sharp snout fish awaited. Falling into the river meant being torn apart by them. Before we stepped on the bridge, Bianca advised, "You better not grab any supply bags. Just run across to the other side." I nodded. With a loud bang, the 18 contestants surged onto the bridge. I ran as fast as I could. But even without competing for the supply bags, others still targeted me. I was pushed off the bridge, the first to fall into the river. A sharp snout fish bit my calf. Blood flowed, attracting more fish. At this point, I could raise my hands and admit defeat, and staff would rescue me. But I didn't feel pain, so I decided to hang on. The transparent screen showed my sister's situation. Suddenly, she cramped up while swimming in the cruise pool, struggling in the water. Someone pulled her out, shivering from the cold. My parents rushed to her, wrapping her in a blanket, fussing over her. Meanwhile, I climbed ashore, legs chewed by the fish, covered in blood. Bianca and Flora managed to grab supply bags, and were impressed by me. The host announced, "Pulling yourself from the river under these conditions counts as success. It's even harder than crossing the bridge. Congrats, May." 12 contestants made it this round. Viewers were amazed. Wow, she was the first to fall but still made it. Oh my God, her pants are soaked in blood. That's heartbreaking. If it were me, I'd have given up. With such severe injuries, can she continue playing? I take back my words about her being useless, looking forward to what she does next. After that first round, we rested for the night. At night, I exchanged some points in the system store for a special potion, applied it to my legs, and the wounds healed quickly. 6. My sister was lying in bed, constantly crying out in pain. My legs, it's like they're being cut by knives. My parents called the cruise ship doctor to check on her legs. The doctor said there was nothing wrong. Still, she couldn't use her legs, and couldn't even get out of bed. She needed crutches just to go to the bathroom. The second challenge was escape the swamp. In this round, we had to trek through a swamp filled with toxic gases. We had to be careful not to fall into it, and avoid inhaling the fumes. Before we started, my teammates were worried about my injury. "May, maybe you should drop out. Your legs hurt. If the swamp water gets in the wound, it could get infected and ruin your legs." Honestly, my wound was already healed after using the magic ointment from the system. "No worries, I can manage." When I didn't budge, they just warned me to be careful. Halfway through the swamp, my legs got stuck. Bianca and Flora had to work like mad to pull me out. A vine cut me, and swamp water got in the wound, causing an infection. They were really worried, but I didn't feel a thing. Meanwhile, my sister on the cruise had sores on her legs, and she was in agony. When the cruise reached a small town abroad, my parents rushed her to a local hospital. Their cruise trip was cut short. Lying in the hospital, my sister was furious, throwing things. "Why? I never touched anything. So why am I like this?" My parents were just as confused until they turned on the TV. Seeing the replay of the earlier escape games, my sister vaguely understood her injuries. She told them, "Call May right away." My parents flooded my phone with calls, but couldn't reach me. Participants had to turn off and hand in their phones to the show. 4 contestants got eliminated in this round. Only 8 of us were left. The third round was escape the abandoned castle, rumored to be haunted. In truth, it was home to man-eating vultures. Flora's shooting skills were a real asset here. After taking down the vultures attacking us, I accidentally stepped wrong going downstairs, tumbling down the stairs. Bianca and Flora rushed to check on me. I coughed up some blood but stood up quickly. They were shocked. "How are you okay? Are you made of steel?" Falling from such a height did matter. But my sister took the hit for me. Her already useless legs, on the hospital bed, she suddenly spat out blood. Then she suffered multiple fractures and passed out. The doctor was amazed after the X-ray. She actually has 28 fractures. Now my sister wasn't just unable to use her legs. Her whole body was useless. With the third round over, only 6 contestants moved on. The show gave our phones back to let us check in with family. I didn't need to call anyone. My mom called me sounding frantic. "May, your sister has 28 fractures. Did you curse her or something? Is she suffering because of you?" Calmly I asked, "What do you mean by that?" "We noticed that whenever you got hurt on the show, your sister mysteriously started feeling the pain. Did you use some kind of doll to curse her, putting your injuries on her?" Playing dumb, I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even feel pain. Maybe it's karma for her? Through the years, didn't I get hit for her plenty of times? Even the heavens must have had enough." Mom got angry. "Don't act dumb with me. If something happens to your sister, you'll be in big trouble." Dad grabbed the phone demanding, "May, stop the game right now, or your sister will die." I replied coldly, "I can't stop. My sister signed me up. You guys forced me to take part, and wanted me to make it to the last round. I won't let you down. I'll see it through." Dad started cursing. Then Mom took the phone back, trying to reason with me. "May, your sister really deserves some sympathy. Even if she did you wrong in the past, she's still your sister. How can you be so heartless?" I shot back, "Who's heartless, me or you guys? Don't try to guilt trip me. Bye." On the screen, my parents were furious beyond words. Lying powerless, my sister weakly opened her eyes. "Mom, call my god grandma and have her get the best medical team for me." "I'll call right now." Mom called Hearst's grandma. The phone just gave a busy signal. "The number you dialed is busy. Please try again later." At the same time, my phone rang. Answering, a familiar voice said, "May, it's Grandma Hearst. My grandson showed me the escape show you're in. You were the one who saved me in the alley, right?" I was a bit stunned. "How did you know it was me?" Grandma Hearst explained. "When your sister came to me, something felt off. I asked your parents if you had another sister. They said no, and even showed me your household registration as proof. After accepting your sister as my god-granddaughter, I noticed her personality wasn't like the one who saved me. Seeing you on TV today, I recognized the scar on your forehead and finally realized you were the one. Instinctively, I touched the scar on my forehead. Turns out this scar had a purpose. I admitted, yeah, it was me. My parents and sister tied me up so I couldn't go meet you. Concerned, Grandma Hurst said, "You've had it rough all these years. I called to ask you to quit the game. It's too dangerous." My heart warmed. My parents want me to quit, saying it's because they're worried about my sister. Mrs. Hurst wants me to quit because she's worried about me. My own parents don't care as much as a stranger I've only met once. I politely said no need to worry about me. If I can't go on, I'll quit on my own. Mrs. Hurst still seemed uneasy. "If you quit, I'll give you the prize money." "I'm not doing this for the money," I replied. I was doing it to prove a point, to make my parents and sister face the consequences of their actions. She sighed, "Please be extra careful. If you can't continue, quit right away. Let's meet after it's all over." I nodded, okay. Mom kept calling Mrs. Hurst. On the 5th try she got through. Mom excitedly handed the phone to my sister. Tearfully, my sister pleaded, "Grandma, I'm dying. Can you send the best doctors to treat me?" Mrs. Hurst's voice turned cold. "Dale, you pretended to be made to trick me and got a lot of benefits. I'm letting you off easy by not confronting you. From now on, I'm not your god-grandmother." My sister was stunned, stubbornly saying, "I didn't impersonate anyone, let me explain." But Mrs. Hurst cut her off. "No need to explain. I've already had the situation investigated. From now on, we're no longer connected." She ended the call. My sister started crying hysterically, telling my parents, "It must be May who contacted Mrs. Hurst." Dad clenched his fist. "That brat is always screwing up our plans. I'll go to the island and drag her back myself." Mom chimed in, "Hurry back, husband, so I can deal with her when she's home." Dad took a flight back home, heading to the island. I was in the middle of the 4th game. "Escape the mine?" The system asked. "Host, who do you want to send your pain back to this time?" "Send it to my dad," I said calmly. The mine was crawling with terrifying underground creatures. This time, it was all about fighting them fist to fist. Bianca's boxing skills came in handy. I was mainly trying to hold my ground, while Dad was looking for me. All the injuries I suffered in the mine bounced back to him. He could barely move, writhing on the ground in pain. He kept fainting and waking up from the pain, trapped in a cycle near death until the crew found him, got him off the island, and into the hospital. With communication issues abroad, Mom had my sister transferred to a hospital back home. Our group won the escape game because we stuck together. We each got a share of the $3 million prize money, with $1 million each. From the survival show, I made 2 lifelong friends and gained a bunch of fans. Seeing the trending news, Mom called me eagerly. "May, send me your prize money. Your dad and sister need it for treatment." I retorted, "I earned this money at risk to my life. Why should I give it to you?" She tried to guilt trip me. "You owe it to me. I risked my life for yours. Isn't that why you're named May?" I remained clear-headed and calm. "You've already taken back more than you gave me. As for the name, I prefer Jean." Since she couldn't get money from me, she had to sell the house for my dad's and sister's treatment. When college entrance results came out, I got an acceptance letter from Tsinghua University. I used some medicine from the system's vault to heal the scars from the show, feeling reborn. Mrs. Hurst invited me to meet her. She brought her grandson Felix. Felix, 4 years older than me, had just graduated and was set to work for their family business. He's handsome and privileged, the sole heir to the Hurst family. No wonder Dale was so eager to marry him. He mentioned he watched the entire survival show, and both admired and felt sorry for me. Mrs. Hurst wanted to take me in as her god-granddaughter. Before I could say anything, Felix said, "Grandma, there's no need to have a god-granddaughter." Confused, she asked, "Why not?" With flushed ears, Felix replied, "Because you already have a grandson." Seeming to realize something, she nodded thoughtfully. "All right, no god-granddaughter then." With that, she handed me a jade bracelet as a gift. I didn't want to accept it, but she insisted, eventually putting it on for me. In return, I gave her a gift. After that day, Felix began pursuing me, saying that learning my story only made him want to protect me more, promising to look after me forever. The bracelet she gave me was a family heirloom. Felix hinted to Grandma not to recognize me as a god-granddaughter because he wanted to, someday, have my name in their family registry. After all the pain, I've learned independence. I won't rely on anyone else. I'll make myself strong enough. Love, to me, is just spice for life, not a necessity. I changed my name to Summer Ru Yuan. From now on, I'll live for myself and fulfill all my dreams. 3 years later, Mom showed up at my school gate. She's been looking after Dad and my sister in the hospital daily and looks worn out. When she saw me, she cut to the chase. May, I'm out of money for your dad and sister's treatment. I know you have money, so give it to me now. I refused. First, my name's not May anymore. Second, I have no money for you. She grabbed my throat, looking aggressive. Are you going to give it to me or not? For a moment, I sensed she wanted to strangle me, but she seemed to forget that my injuries bounced back to my sister. So I didn't even bother to struggle, just letting her vent her fury. Mom said angrily, if you don't give it to me, I'll strangle you. Pretend you were never born. A transparent screen appeared in front of me, showing my sister lying on a hospital bed. She was kept alive by a ventilator, with a look of pain on her face. She struggled desperately, feeling 100 times worse than me. Mom wouldn't let go until my sister took her last breath in the hospital bed, and the heart monitor went flatline. Mom suddenly seemed to realize and let go of me. Dale, she called my sister's name, and stumbled towards the bus stop. Mom ran back to the hospital, rushed into my sister's room. She glanced at the heart monitor, checked her breath, and burst into tears holding her. Her crying caught Dad's attention in the room next door, and he hobbled over with a cane, questioning Mom, what happened? Mom, utterly heartbroken, said, I strangled her with my own hands. Dad swung his cane at Mom. Your own daughter. How could you do that? Mom cried and regretted. I went to May for money, but she wouldn't give it to me. In a moment of impulse, I grabbed her neck. I didn't realize that by grabbing her, I was grabbing Dale. How could you be so foolish? Dad was so angry he vomited blood, and the blood rushed to his head, knocking him out. Dad had a stroke and would be bedridden. Dale was taken to the crematorium and turned into a pile of ashes. Mom Yihua hugged my sister's urn, crying and questioning the sky. Why? What did we do wrong for heaven to punish us this way? The system went online. Host, henceforth, all your pain will be reflected back to your mom until she realizes her mistakes. Some people are blinded by darkness, and thus live in endless darkness. But I made it through the night, and dawn has arrived as promised. The end.